I love when Jesus says, emphatically, he says, no one tears a piece of cloth from a new garment and uses it to patch the old garment. Did you notice he says, no one? Like, you got to catch that. He says, no one does that. But what do you mean, Jesus? Is he being literal that no one's ever done that? No, I think he's kind of saying some of the things that we say in our culture, like one of the ways that Jesus might have said that if he was living in our day and age, he might have said, where they do that at? Like, who tears up a new cloth and uses to patch up something that's old? I mean, obviously you've got a choice here. You can ride with the new or you can ride with the old. He says that don't even make sense because you can still choose the old if you wanted to, but instead of that, you're choosing to damage the new so that you can try to preserve the old. He says, where they do that at? No one does that. In other words, here's what Jesus is saying. That is a move that doesn't make any sense. Because even if you wanted to stay stuck in the old, why ruin the new cloth? Just roll with the old. He says you're making moves that don't make any sense. And most of the time we struggle to change because we don't realize that we're making moves that don't make any sense. Jesus is actually pointing to, I believe, a principle, watch this, that has no exceptions. He says, no one does that. Like, literally, I have never seen someone take a new cloth, tear it up, and sew it onto an old cloth. Y'all missed it. In other words, I haven't been bowling in a while. Can I take out my bowling ball, bowl down your lane? In other words, Jesus is saying, you are not the exception. No one does that. Literally, no one. And if you think, watch this, you're going to be able to change and maintain your change by hanging out with the same old folks, he says, when it comes to this principle of change, there are no exceptions. Water is always wet. Fire's always hot, and as long as you surround yourself with the same old mindset and the same old crew, I promise you that you will not achieve what God is calling you to achieve. He says no one does it because there are no exceptions. You are not special, my friend, that when you find yourself doing the same old thing and hanging out with the same old people and keep fostering the same old mindset, I promise you that sooner or later you will find yourself slipping back into the same old habits. The problem with us is we always think we're the exception. I can do that because I'm strong enough. Jesus says no one gets away with that. No one. Did you catch that? Man, that's where you got to go back and listen to week 2. We talked about humility because you got to have the humility to know, watch this for my singles and those who are dating, you're not going to change her. You are not the exception. He's not going to change for you. I hate to tell you that, but Jesus says no one has ever successfully torn off a new cloth and put it on the old cloth and people not realize them two things don't even go together. We're not the exception. And I think that we fool ourselves into thinking that I can be a different person but not being in a different environment. Jesus says doesn't happen. We're not the exception.